All right, we're live. Um, I had originally intended this week to put up a video about a person, or rather, two people I interacted with at the start of last month and through the remainder of last month for the other person. And I wrote out the majority of the script. I liked it, but when I get to that conclusion part, I start to. It becomes a balancing act of whether I'm writing something that I think actually is a good conclusive statement or simply to rush out the video, because that was something I fought the temptation to do on Thursday. So I just decided I'll either put it up tomorrow or at some point during this week, like Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. But the topic that is addressed is something that I think should be discussed. It kind of, in a way, kills me to have to keep not saying what it is, because I do think it's interesting. At least it was for me writing it. And it's something that I think if people stop to think about, because I make the point of why it's worth discussing or why I believe it's worth discussing. I think if people hear out the reasoning, they'll either come to the same conclusion or they'll at least understand why I've reached that viewpoint. And I'm still waiting for somebody to explain to me how they're going to make. I had this conversation before I started the stream, how they're going to make a Black Panther 2 without Black Panther. It's like you don't want to recast the lead actor. I get that, but then just cancel the series. Like, I've never seen a trilogy of films, because you don't have to do a second one, they're going to do a third one, where the lead actor in real life unfortunately passes away, and then you decide to keep it going without the actor that played that character. I've just never seen anything like it, and I think it's going to be either an okay story with a weird name or something else. Yeah, I am interested in seeing how they do that. We're not going to replace the actor. We're going to keep the series going. At least when they killed off Roseanne in after she said the ridiculous stuff, according to people online, they at least changed the name of the show to be the family that was in the show instead of having her name in the title but not in the show. That at least made sense. I just can't believe they really brought that show back just to cancel after one more season. That reminds me of when Young Justice used to air on Cartoon Network with Green Lantern, and they had these big hiatuses between episodes, and we waited like 2 or 3 months for one of the hiatuses to be over, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, you thought the hiatus were finally finished." 2 weeks after they aired new episodes, after two new episodes, right back to hiatus. That used to drive me crazy. Okay, non-binary says I didn't even know they were making another Black Panther. Well, hell, it's supposed to be coming out what, next year? Let me see. Making a Black Panther 2, a Captain Marvel 2, all of that. Yeah, July 8, 2022. So we'll get to see the sequel to a film without the lead actor in it. And they confirmed non-binary. The whole reason this is weird to me is because they confirmed they're not going to recast the character, so they're going to have a Black Panther movie without Black Panther. The weirdest thing I've ever heard of. It's just like when they did the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man films and they kept Jameson out of those because supposedly they couldn't get an actor that they thought matched the level of J.K. Simmons. I'm like, then just bring him back. He wanted to come back. Like, it was just so weird to not have Jameson because he's supposed to be this character that humanizes Spider-Man in the sense that even if we don't have superpowers, we all have that one person in our lives that treats us in a combative, antagonistic manner, no matter what we do. And it's like you get rid of this character who's such a core part of his mythos because of not being able to find an actor that you think is as good as somebody else. The reason they do that is because it's cheaper to write the character out of the plot rather than cast another actor. But that's my thing. If they just called it Wakanda or something, indicative of the set of characters that are there, it would be fine. But they're making a sequel with the title Black Panther 2 minus Black Panther. Like if they did a Superman 2 and there's no, Christopher Reeve or whatever other actor they have playing him at a certain time, but it's got all the other characters, why can't they just call it Metropolis? Like it's weird. It's crazy to me. The only series that could really get away with like not having a lead character there because of an actor dying is probably X-Men, which is literally like the only superhero team ever where there's like no consistent members across the board. And then what's even crazier, non-binary, is they're apparently doing a Disney Plus show about Wakanda. So why not just have a show with that name and a movie with that name? I've just never seen anything like it. No, if you don't believe me, you can go look up Black Panther 2 and see the ridiculousness of that they're trying to pull off. If that film is good, like if it's actually of decent quality, it's going to be one. It should make a list of like the most weirdly titled films ever. Imagine doing a Batman movie without Batman. Like you've got Commissioner Gordon, you have Alfred, you have whatever one of the 5 Robins that you want to use, and just there's no Bruce Wayne. I just think this is absolutely insane. It's weird too because a lot of people who liked the first one would theoretically come back for a sequel that's just about Wakanda since they know what that is if they saw the film. I don't get these people at all. And I can't think of any other instance in a film series where they do one film and then the lead actor passed away and then they're like, no, we're not going to recast that, but we're going to keep his name in the title. Disney is running a new show called WandaVision has essentially just scrapped the entire Age of Ultron storyline because now Quicksilver is alive. Right now, people are going to come to my stream and get mad at me for reading what you say. I'm going to lose even more subs because of you. We're going to change your name from non-binary canary to the non-binding spoiler or something. The non-concerned spoiler. Oh my God. I like how you have to say the show's name like I hadn't heard of that before. Because one of my problems with the MCU is that, like, at a certain point, it becomes harder to watch any of the films without having seen a bunch of other stuff. Like, if you want to see, like, I expect when a movie's a sequel, if you didn't see the previous film, you'll probably be confused by the contents of it. But with Iron Man 2, for example, it seemed like the film was just designed to set up Avengers and wasn't really attempting to tell its own story. Like that's a problem I have with a lot of these superhero films where because people are more concerned about franchises than having a good story, they don't really care about the story itself, but they want the movie to act as a trailer to set up something else. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2 is supposed to have Electro and Green Goblin as the primary protagonist, but then I'm seeing like Doc Ock's tentacles and Vulture's wings, and they got Black Cat in there without her being in her. And I'm like, this isn't even a movie anymore. It's a 2-hour trailer for 8 or 9 other films. Just like I couldn't even show my brother the MCU Spider-Man films without having to, I guess, have him see all three of the Iron Man ones, all the Avengers ones, for him to get any kind of attachment to Tony, because there's the spoiler alert of Endgame. So like it sucks just having to have so much other stuff you have to see to not spoil something from another movie. Kind of like how you can't really watch Infinity War without seeing Thor Ragnarok. So like unless you go online and see the order of these films, you're going to be confused. It's like that film starts off as a continuation of a film that's not even in the same series. It'd be different if, like, let's say Avengers 2 ended with that, and then it leads into the third one of Infinity War. But it's like you have to watch a Thor film to understand this Avengers film that it takes place right after. And again, that worked when it came out, but if someone is online or they're trying to like get these at a theater, not theater, at a some place that sells films, they'll be confused. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people aren't really worried about telling a good story anymore. It's just how much money can I milk off of this? Like before Amazing Spider-Man 3 got canceled, Sony was literally trying to make 9 movies off of their little universe that they were creating. They wanted to do a third one, a fourth one, a Black Cat film, some all-female film, a Sinister Six film, the Venom film, which was like the only one they ended up actually doing. It just goes to show how insane the Marvel universe is. But their films didn't used to be this way. Like, you watch X-Men 3, the original, the one from Fox, and all you had to do before that was watch the second and the first one. It was a sequel to the second one. Like now you have to see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different films before understanding what's going on in one of these. Like if you want to see the second MCU Spider-Man, you have to understand what happened to Spider-Man in Endgame and Infinity War, which is already 5 hours of backstory content. And then you have to, before that, see the first one, which, whatever, I'll give them a pass on that. But then to understand the Iron Man connection, you have to see the Iron Man films and the Avenger film before. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just more and more stuff. That is like probably the thing I dislike the most about these shared universes, that so much of the story is just hinged on something else. Like when Man of Steel came out, I was like, oh, here's this modern take on Superman that kind of acts as its own standalone film. And then instead of just doing Man of Steel 2, they do this weird crossover movie between Superman and Batman that's basically just a trailer for Justice League, because you see all the other little members for 2 seconds. No, that was awful. Not well, I haven't seen the film since I saw it in theaters, but just it's like none of these films stand on their own anymore. Like maybe the first one does, but after that, it's just, how can this set up this film? How can this set up that film? I'm gonna start calling these superhero sequels that they're trailers for other movies. I mean, I would take Marvel over DC any day, because uh, it doesn't, like, every film they've put out have mixed reception at best, except for Wonder Woman. That's like the only one that is not despised by some segment of people. And then apparently people don't like the second one for some reason. I haven't seen it, so I don't. Yeah, it's like the first one was well liked, and then the second one's got the mixed reception. I remember when that Venom movie came out, because they had told us about wanting to do a spinoff on Venom since Spider-Man 3 came out, and we, a lot of us, just kind of accepted that wasn't going to happen after they canceled the Sam Raimi series, and then they finally do the film after 11 years of teasing it, and it's like it's not connected to Spider-Man. It's got some random villain that is only in like 3 comics who they picked over Carnage, because I guess the director liked the way that gray looked as opposed to red on at night. It was weird. It was. I didn't think it was bad, but I was like, this is kind of because that came out the same year as Into the Spider Verse, which a lot of people argue is the best Spider-Man film, which I don't agree with, but whatever. And it's like it really paled in comparison. It was like this is kind of a letdown. We waited 11 years for that. I thought Deadpool was going to be a standalone, but they're planning on dumping him into the MCU. Everybody, get ready for Fantastic Four. Get ready for X-Men. They even used the same actor. Remember from the Fox films? Just get ready. They're gonna bring everybody in here. I can't wait to see Galactus in 2030. This time he's not a dumb clown. I remember that was like the most irritating thing in the world to me. It's like he's a Fantastic Four villain. Fox has the rights to him, and then they do two films, and instead of showing him very briefly in the film, at least, no, we're gonna have a cloud that has like the same look as as his helmet. Because we're going to save him for the Silver Surfer spinoff that we're not even going to be able to do because the sequel to the Fantastic Four film is going to do so horribly that the whole series is going to get canceled. Oh my God. That's what happens when you try to save ideas. Really, the moral of the story is this: when you do films, it's best to operate with the assumption that you're going to maybe be able to do the one you're currently working on, and then you're going to maybe be able to do a sequel, and then maybe you might set one thing up for a sequel, but that's it. But when you aim for the damn ceiling with all these references and Easter eggs and whatnot, it tends to just be blown over. Because that's really what the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was. They wanted a Sinister Six film. They wanted two more amazing films. They wanted, again, those other spin-offs I mentioned earlier. It was, and now that none of that stuff has happened, it just leaves us with a film that acts as a trailer to things that never came. Because even people who don't like the Sam Raimi films will admit that they at least tell self-contained stories with an actual tale that they're trying to get into being discussed. And it doesn't feel like when you're watching one of those, it's just there to set up another movie. No, I don't get any of this stuff anymore. They're just, I don't know. It's like studios are so desperate to have these franchises that they don't even care about how good their film is at this point. Like that new Batman movie with the vampire as Batman from Twilight. Already they're talking about it being a trilogy. I'm like, the first one hasn't even come out yet. And like, if it sells well, it's not going to be because you wrote some amazing script. It's because it's Batman and everybody loves this character, or at least likes this character. So it's really crazy that without even having one film under your belt, you're like, yeah, we have three planned. Because that was the same thing that happened with Ghostbusters, where they had the all female one that bombed horribly. They wanted to do three movies of that. It's like every single film now, if it makes some money, they're like, we must do a sequel. And not even just sequels, like, let's do a sequel and a spin-off and a TV show. It's just relax. I can see non-binary lost his words and statements. He's got nothing. They have nothing left to say. Rather, excuse me. That's why you're not going to say anything anymore, because I used the wrong pronoun by mistake. There, now you're going to never comment again. So you don't get a break with people, and like when there's pronouns involved, like you'll actually make an error because you're just used to having it be some male that's commenting on your stuff. And like, how could you do this? Like, all right, I'm sorry. No, you can't win on here. They love impugning your motives. Like, oh, you just misidentified this person. All right, it wasn't on purpose. I'm not trying to get non-binary to disappear. It was an honest mistake, and they're like, how could you? This is so sick. What else was I going to talk about? Yeah, I just think that in hindsight, the MCU after Part One just kept going and going and going, and I'm not really that petulant about my pronouns. Well, it was a mistake, and there are some. Again, that's the thing where like there are some that aren't, and there are others that are. So whenever you make a true error, you're worried about the repercussions. Like, how could this person do this? So that was what I was concerned about. No, I was saying that the MCU is probably um, peaked. I'd say like the part I like the most is the first stage, or I guess part one, because I think Loki was a fairly developed character, and even though the villains were kind of like not really that interesting, you still had good protagonists. And I always say that I think if a story is good, the villain can be just whatever. Like if the character we're supposed to be rooting for is compelling or likable enough, I can look past a mediocre villain. Not on YouTube. On here, everybody's perfect, especially the people in my comment section. Hey, non-binary, no one's ever pointed out like the irony of a comment section filled with perfect men that's on a mediocre person's channel. You get how ironic that is. You're a mediocre person posting videos, but I'm perfect. That's why I can't make a video. I'm too busy writing these dazzling comments. I really wish somebody would explain how like the weirdness of that. Like when they come to your stuff and they're like, "Oh, I'm so much better than you. That's why I'm watching you." Because I don't think I'm better than the people I watch regularly, but that's because I watch people I like, and I don't feel the need to insult in such nebulous manners. Where, and when I say nebulous, I mean ways in which I can't actually explain how this person is of some lesser quality than me. Because that's a running gag where they have like a thing of saying that this person is needs to work on themselves and whatnot. It's like all of that talk is just hinged on getting with a woman. And it's like, look at the chicks. I don't see any of them doing anything. It is crazy. But like I said, I don't understand if someone is so much better than me, why are they watching me? And non-binary, it's even more comedic when you have the people who give advice because, and I made this comparison before, I know how to draw, so I don't like sit around and claim that like what's the way of saying it? I know how to draw, so I don't look up art tutorials. If these people know how to get with somebody, why are they watching stuff on how not to on like being irritated by not getting with one? Like who knows how to do something and then they're frequenting videos on how like frustrating it is to not have it. Like you don't see millionaires going on videos of people saying how to make money. You never see that. Non-binary. Imagine if you were with a woman, right? I think you would believe that you probably would be spending time with that person as opposed to like going in the comment section of videos from people not being with one. I know damn well that if like in let's say an alternate universe, if I had a life or whatever, there is no way in hell I'd be on YouTube looking how this woman thing hurts me, or I just find it really weird. Like I know people are complex and complicated, but that is really confusing for me. And no one's ever been able to explain it. It's just like with a lot of people believe in the just world fallacy, and I was thinking of doing a video on this, but I probably won't. And how like with the voice actors, I always say that if I treat them so poor, because there's this idea that bad things happen to someone who deserves it. You know, this thing that people tell themselves, oh, if you're good, good things happen to you. And I said, well, if I treat the voice actors in such a manner that is conducive to them quitting on me, why is it that every time they quit, they apologize? Why would you apologize to someone who treated you badly or was not considerate of the other things you had going on? And again, they're not able to articulate a rebuttal to this. That if I was such a bad director or person to work with, why are these people apologizing for dropping out on me out of nowhere? Again, a lot of this stuff, when you put it together, it doesn't add up, but people love doing that. Now, that Black Panther thing is going to be really interesting to see. I don't know how they're going to make a sequel to that movie without the character in it. You would never see anybody try to make what's an example? Let's say that Batman film comes out, right? The one that's coming out next year, and it does really well. And then they're already talking about making a sequel to it without it even being released. And it's like, here's Batman 2, but without Batman, we're gonna have the characters from the first movie. Like they would just recast the actor. They wouldn't, because that's what they did with the first Batman series, where what's his name? The guy that played him in, I'm forgetting his name. The guy that played him in '89 and in Returns left after the director left, and then got replaced by two other people whose names I'm forgetting. George Clooney, I think, and somebody else. I just find it really crazy that they can't just recast this role. It was so transformative. It was so amazing. Either recast it or cancel the damn series. That's weird. Oh my god. I've never seen anything like this before. People act so weird on the internet, especially when I go into LGBT communities and I tell people I'm non-binary. People will go out of their way to be offended for me when I'm called the wrong pronoun. Well, see, that's because there is this idea that people who refer to themselves with different pronouns get very angry when they're not called it. I've seen some people who do that, others that don't. So I know that they all have their own specific reactions to it. But that's why there's always for me this, I guess, frustration, because if you don't know what that person's are and you make an honest mistake, you might have the person get offended, like, oh my God, you called me he or she or whatever. So that's why for me, I'm like, oh my God, here we go. It's not really about not being able to, I guess, respect it, but when you do make a genuine error that you try to correct immediately, you do have to like wonder if the person is going to be receptive to that or get angry and accuse you of things. But I do think it is bizarre that other people get offended for you. Hey, it's just like with the N word, how there's some black people who don't get mad, such as myself, when other ethnic groups use it, and there's other people that get mad when it is used by people who aren't black. And I always say, I just think that no group should own a word and that people just in general should stop using it. It's a racial slur. And apparently, trying to make it this friendly term didn't work because if it was, other ethnic groups could use it, nobody would get offended. I mean, it all just depends on the person, I guess. The only ethnic group ever that that uses a racial slur as a term of endearment. I've never seen any other group do this. And then somebody was like, "So you want us to stop using it? So do we get rid of all the music?" It's like, no, you can play a song and not repeat its words. I mean, I don't get the arguments for it at all, but whatever. People will do what they do. I do what I do. Hello? Well, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you later? If you must know, because and I'm not even mad at the person, but because of mob mentality, they were attacked and lambasted. Well, that's one of the reasons I don't really like interacting in groups because I think people are susceptible to peer pressure at any age. And when you're in some large conversation where let's say there's 6, 7, 8 people and they're all saying the same thing, it's hard to separate yourself from the pack. And you're more likely to go along with things that you wouldn't if you were by yourself. They've had whole psychological discussions about that. I think it's really interesting. Like there was this one experiment where there's some smoke going off in a room, and this guy that's between these two other guys is noticing it and like freaking out, but then the other two are just like whatever, so he doesn't do anything. Like how his reaction to that very weird thing is nonchalant based off of how he sees other people reacting to it. I am mad at the person. I'm mad at the person. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at everybody. My rage is accumulating. But non-binary, I hope you understand what I mean about how they've turned these movies into trailers, like just 2-hour trailers for something else, where it's there to set up a whole. And with Amazing Spider-Man, it's so sad because the actor who played him in that, Andrew Garfield, is a big fan of the character. So like his lasting contribution to this franchise that he loved is to be this person that's in 2 installments and then thrown to the corner after Marvel and Sony made a deal. I do feel bad for him just because of how much of a fan he is of Spider-Man and like how the sequel just destroyed. Like he was really supposed to play that character for like 10 years, if not longer, and just right out the window. I do have a lot of sympathy for actors because they get stuck with these studios and writers that do things with them that you know people say, "Oh, this actor's so annoying." It's like, but they're given material that makes them that way. They're doing a job. People never get mad at writers; they always get mad at the actors. My question is, why are you so angry? There was a person that actually came on there and said that, like when I was doing a stream, and I'm like, what do you think? Like, I guess to me, it's so obnoxious for me to articulate my problem with a respective topic, and then the response to that is, "Why are you so angry?" It's like, but he literally just explained to you why this upsets him. It's crazy too because a lot of times if I do a video or call somebody, I'm in a good mood. Like I'm laughing multiple times through this stream. We're not even half an hour in, or rather, we are half an hour in. Excuse me. I had my glasses on, so I didn't see it. 35 minutes. I remember I had this one woman come on my stream. She was like, uh, "Big fan. I've noticed you've been attacking women. My question is, how will that help you?" And it was funny because like that threw me off. And it's like that was one of the first instances where somebody comes to a stream to ask something that disrupts the topic at hand, and then like you respond to them and you never see them again. They drive by type. They go. Non-binary is doing a stream about the impact of climate change on the world. Climate change isn't real. You got tricked by Ralph Nader. Oh my god, I hate that so much because I don't have a problem with a person having a different opinion, but they literally come to a stream to write something crazy and then vanish. Like you try to address what they said and they don't even write anything again. Oh, by the way, non-binary, you were here last week when that person came on my stream and said I sounded perpetually dissatisfied and why do you stay on YouTube and all that trash. So they have a pretty unique username, and I had a feeling just from their username that they were someone who made videos. It turns out that person is actually a woman. I went to their channel and I saw their newest video, and it had 1 view. So this is what they do. They go around harassing people to try to get views for their trash, and it hasn't been working for them because YouTube turned off the feature to go to somebody's channel. If you don't believe me, well, I don't want to promote them because I'd have to edit the screenshot, but I'll edit the screenshot and post it. Their video had a single view. And then the 2 before that had like 3, 2. No, that's what they do. They go to streams to be antagonistic. So you can click on and be like, who the hell is this? And then they're like, oh, this clown. No, I blocked them after. I don't need any recurring villains. I'm not Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. I don't need to have somebody showing up every couple of months to write. Like they wrote 3 comments on 2 streams and all of them were antagonistic. I've noticed you wear this. Maybe you get the hate you get because of how you speak. Why are you even on YouTube if you're perpetually dissatisfied, even though you're not actually upset about your content, just want the people to comment on one single goddamn video? I couldn't believe it. Like sometimes when I have a hunch, it's disturbing how it turns out to be true. Because there was a guy on what's it called on Twitter who was like trying to say that all homeless people are poor because of their own actions, or poor people are poor because of their own actions. That like every single one of them was, and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever written by a person. And I went and looked up his username on Google, and he was begging for $300 to bury his dad. And it's like if that was anybody else, I would be sympathetic because I know that people, don't just have a bunch of money just laying. But it's like you just came on here, trash talked millions of people you've never met before, don't know the situations of, and you wanted somebody to be sympathetic enough to assist you with this burial. It's like, to hell with you. But I just thought that was ironic how that's like one of the few times I decided to look somebody up online with their respective username, and that came up. And then when I did a video about it where I didn't show his name, I didn't show any pictures, any information that could be traceable back to this person. I had somebody come and say about, "You're so mean for putting out his info." It was like I talked about an experience I had on Twitter where it was literally impossible for anybody to directly find this person. And I'm being mean. If anything, I'm protecting him after he lambasted and trash talked a whole bunch of people he'd never met before. Gonna do? Are you gonna do a video on that? I've never heard your voice before, so I'd be excited just for that by itself. You know, it is crazy non-binary because um, one of the things I thought was really funny about some conservatives is they kind of, to me, feel like rebels without a cause. Like um, I like Johnson and Nixon for different reasons, and sometimes, but just they both have things I find that I like. And a lot of conservatives go, "Oh well, the welfare state is is what affected the black community and made it the way it is." And at the same time as they're saying that, they'll go, "No, the war on drugs is what made them all be broken up because they put people in prison." But okay, so pick one. Like the one that the president tries to offer them some assistance is the one that causes. Even though I don't believe that because I can prove that the majority of people on welfare are white and that whites still get married more times than black. So if this program by itself destroyed the black community, how the hell are whites able to stay together even though they're the majority of the people that are on that program? But you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying of how it's like they really can't pick what narrative to spin. It's either like they won't say directly if it's welfare, if it's other factors. Like they pick a boogeyman. Add me on Discord. What if I still use that stupid website? Like between them and that site and Twitter, I really, yeah, you think I'm kidding? YouTube is the only website out of all of them I use regularly, like actually post stuff on. All the rest of them can go and be flushed down the toilet and forgotten about. No, that's the worst one. Yeah, my opinion too. It's the only one where people actually can pretty much do whatever they want as far as like you have some people that play games, some people that'll just sit back and talk about something, some people upload some networks upload movies on here. There's a lot of stuff. But Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of that, I'm good. Because Twitter bans people left and right. I can't say how many people are like, I just logged into my account one day and then I was banned. And they don't even tell you what you did. Like with YouTube, if you do a video, let's say with copyright in it, they'll be like, this video has this, and we're gonna block it here and there. And they'll explain this studio is claiming this, but nothing. On Twitter, you just have to hope and pray that you don't say anything that offends somebody. People seem to get banned for no reason on Twitch. Well, you know Twitch is a really unfair site. Like there's one person that got banned because they had a feature where if you have an avatar, it would post your avatar on the page. They had some kind of setup with Twitch. So somebody made their avatar when they donated um, male private parts, and then the person got banned. And you can say, well, he shouldn't have made it where people can put their avatars in there, but it's like, how was he supposed to know somebody would put that as their profile picture? He just got unbanned before that, and then got banned. Oh my god. It's crazy too because if I remember correctly, like if you do a stream and you show, porn on it, for example, YouTube doesn't automatically pick that up. It takes a while for something like that to be seen. So theoretically, he could have just turned, and I'm assuming that Twitch operates the same way. We could just shut the stream off and then delete it, but he apparently didn't notice or something. Now there have been two instances where I was watching a live stream of something and somebody accidentally put some lewd stuff on there. But in one person's case, they showed screenshots of a DM message where a person posted, I think it was hentai in there. So it wasn't them being nasty; it was somebody else being gross. That's my favorite Twitch story ever. Just you just got unbanned. People hate you so much that they make profiles with nasty images to put on your account. So when you're doing your video, this pops up and then Twitch Thanos snaps you out of existence. And now you will know what it's like to lose. So you can get banned because of someone else. Well, their rule was that it was on his page, but it wouldn't have been on his page if that person didn't make that their profile picture, so that he did effectively get banned for what somebody else did. He didn't tell them they had to have a nasty avatar. They made a nasty avatar just for the purpose of getting him in trouble. Oh yeah, but if I do a stream and like somebody, I guess, flashes their stuff, I would get banned for that or in trouble for that, even though it's not me doing it. Now these websites are so unfair. I don't even know what's wrong with them. They just say they just do random things and get people in trouble, and then they're surprised when nobody wants to use them anymore. But Twitter is the only one I've ever seen where they can get rid of you without offering any explanation, without explaining why they did this. You're in trouble, and then nothing, just no reason given. Then they don't have a phone number for you to call. That's another thing I hate about these websites. They don't have any way for them to be held accountable. You can't call them. You can send them a little stupid email where they're just going to respond to you with some automated crap. You violated Twitter rules. Which one? You violated Twitter rules. Which one? You violated Twitter rules. All right, to hell with this. We just have to live with the mystery of what rule did we violate. And it would be different if it was like maybe 2 rules and you know which one, like it's small enough for you to guess. They have like, what, 10, 11 of them? Let me go look it up. Safety, privacy, authenticity, enforcement appeals. Violence, terrorism, abuse, harassment, child exploitation, hateful content, suicide or self-harm, sensitive media, illegal or certain regulated goods or certain, like I don't to this day I don't know what I did. You just wake up one day and you're banned. I'm so done with all these websites. Just straight trash. Like I said, the internet has really made people just act stupid. And they do things that I don't understand at all. With no explanation, no justification, just ridiculousness. Like you wouldn't get thrown out of a building without being told what you did. Let's see what else is here. Oh, non-binary just gave up on commenting. They rolled up their hat and vanished. But yeah, I can't wait for the video on the clown this week, because I really think this person is just very ridiculous. Every couple of days, they fluctuate between wanting to speak to you and getting upset. and that's why I refer to them in a negative way about that, because I like consistency. I like it when you know that someone doesn't or does like you. You don't have to keep wondering about it. I got all the screenshots of their stupidity, and I'm gonna put the email that I sent them that they chose to not respond to. So all of their stuff will be revealed. Because I delayed it the week before last because I was still trying to figure out if they were, going to walk down the road that they did. So when they eventually did, I said, all right, forget this. What's up? Some people think AOC was lying about her almost being attacked at the Capitol. What's your thoughts? I mean, I have no reason to not believe her. Does anybody have proof that she wasn't there? They were lying about, they not lying. They thought she was lying about making up being assaulted as well. So they just want to discredit her on everything. Research. I can't wait to see this well crafted video. Hey, I don't think YouTube would even let you post the link for it on here either. They have specifications about what is and what isn't allowed. Also, if you can hear that, I apologize. Told you every time you do a stream, there's a tendency for a bunch of noises to be made for no reason. God forbid there's ever peace and quiet, am I right? Like sometimes sounds don't come off on here, but I can hear them and they're very irritating and distracting. I heard Ice Cube was going to meet with Biden after the contract with Black America. I don't even know what the contract is. It's another nebulous term that they don't explain. This is really crazy. There's like 20 interruptions in one stream. So let's do this. Somebody randomly calls me. There's a person shows up at my house. Somebody else starts like making all this noise outside. They then open the door to ask me to take something out that they could take out themselves. That's one of my main complaints with streaming. It's like every time I do one of these things, every other time there's 20 interruptions. Like it's weird. I was talking to Bader and one of my channel commentators, and he was saying how it seems like taking out the trash is some special superpower because people, for whatever reason, and like I want it to be understood. Doing it myself is not something I have a problem with. It's the idea that these people who claim they believe in cleanliness and cleaning things treat the act of removing trash from their own house as kryptonite. Like they will maneuver in any type of way to not do it themselves. And you don't think that's weird? You don't think that's contradictory? Yeah, I want to clean things so much. Oh, I have to take out the trash. Let me go find this other person to do this. Like it's weird. I believe so much in cleaning, but I can't take out 2 goddamn bags. So I have to drag you into this. What a twist. I just would like someone to admit that is very weird. This whole thing of like you're supposed to be against things getting dirty or wanting to clean things, but then you can't take out the trash. And that's another like irritating thing is that like I could have been asked that question at any point this whole morning, but then when I'm doing a stream, let's finally ask this. They see you talking to somebody else or speaking to something. I want somebody to admit that's contradictory. I believe in cleaning. That's why I can't take it out myself. I don't have the power to do that. My chat really died on me. Hey, forget taking that bag out to the trash. My chat went to the trash. They all vanished. I mean, it's fine, whatever. I just think it's really insane that throughout the whole morning nobody will bother you, and then when you're doing a stream, there's like 20 interruptions. This person calls you. This person asked this. This person's making some noise outside. It's just that's a very lovely placement of circumstances. Apparently, the U.S. is gonna finally get out of Yemen, which I would say too little, too late, but at least we're not gonna destroy stuff there for 6 years. It's only gonna be 5 and 11 months. I think that was March of 2015 when we started. When we became involved over there. I really, if there was any justice in this world, every time somebody did like a documentary on Obama or Trump, they would put the clips of their involvement in the Yemen war, where all these innocent people get bombs dropped on them, where children are starved to death, all because some rebels overthrew a government that Saudi Arabia was butt buddies with. It just seemed like nobody cared at all that all these people were getting killed. And I eventually, I don't do videos by that often anymore because it just seemed like it was never changing and there was really nothing else to update people on other than the fact that the number of casualties just kept going up. But that war, it should be a stain on the record of everybody that voted to keep it going, and both of the presidents that had it continue on through the end of their tenures. And if Biden doesn't actually remove us from that, I think it should be on his record as well. Committing a literal genocide over there, and then you put COVID on top of it. That's why I don't like the glorification of American politicians because they have their hands in a lot of sinister suits. And people always, like in spite of that, they always have fans. Oh, this person had so much dignity and grace as they bombed a bunch of children for no damn reason. This person was so nice as they killed innocent people so that defense contractors could have some coins. So I said US politics is just kabuki theater where people who do evil things are able to get away with it. It's really crazy. But listen, I see that we're rolling the clowns out at this point, so I'll probably leave it right now because the actual chat that was good has stopped saying anything, and the buffoons are rolling out their heavy artillery by spamming the same word over and over again. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I'll stream again, probably, well, definitely on Monday, and I'll put up a video tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week. So thanks.